Now, a new image of Orkney's patron saint, St Magnus, goes on show in central London from tomorrow. But although it's partly based on a facial reconstruction using what's believed to be the saint's skull, this isn't a simple picture or portrait. It's a modern-day icon, painted as a prayerful meditation by Dr. Irina Bradley, who says while she was working on it, it was as though the saint was staring into her soul. She's been talking to Hugh.
Icons are created by a prayer and for a prayer. So it is a deeply spiritual way of painting a work of art, but it is much more than just a work of art. It's a prayerful experience, and Byzantine art aims to engage a viewer at the same time, which is quite extraordinary because in icons, they use inverse perspective. Sometimes it is called a reverse perspective. So unlike the normal painting, the vanishing point is not within the painting, but within the viewer. So the Byzantines, they knew very well how to engage people in a prayer.
You told me that working on the picture is like St. Magnus staring into your soul.
Absolutely, and this is not something very easy to achieve. I work very long time, particularly with the eyes, and technically they can be absolutely perfect, but there is some sparkle which would be missing. Sometimes I can get it straight away, but I tend to work on my icons for a very long time.
And in fact, breaking news, because as we're speaking, you are just in the very closing minutes or have just finished the icon of St. Magnus.
Absolutely, yes, it is virtually done, but I like to give myself a space just to look once again, and there could be some tiny changes that I would introduce. It's probably not very practical, but unfortunately, my icons don't let me go.
So I know you came to Orkney to research the story of St. Magnus. You went to the cathedral, you went to the spot where he was martyred. What was it, though, that first engaged you with this individual? What made you think this is a story worth telling again?
It is a very interesting story indeed, and it involves my husband, Jerry Bradley. He went to St. Magnus's Church in London when it was raining, and he saw an exhibition there which showed Hugh Morrison's facial reconstruction of the skull of St. Magnus, which was found at Cumberland Cathedral in the 1920s. And he told me about this story, and it was absolutely fascinating. Particularly, we knew that my husband also has some Viking blood. And it's not until actually we came to the Orkney Islands, it turned out that my husband and St. Magnus share an ancestor, Earl Ragnvald of the Orkney Islands. And the whole process of creating an icon which is based on facial reconstruction is fascinating. I don't believe it has been done in the past. And it's the whole package, amazing story about the saint. I read Orkney Inga Saga and also the life of Saint Magnus. I have this vision of him praying during the battle instead of joining the Norwegian king. And this is why the elements of the icons, they come up from the whole story. For example, I put a cross in his right hand rather than a sword. And in his other hand, he is holding a sword, which is pointed downwards in a very passive way, because he would rather pray than fight. And this was also reflected in his martyrdom.
Dr. Irina Bradley there, and we'll put pictures of her St. Magnus icon on the Radio Orkney Facebook page right after the programme.